What's up, guys? Welcome into the Modern Dudes podcast. We are Dudes talking news, sports, and God. Alongside Greg Walden. What's up, Greg Walden?
Hey guys, how's it going?
We got to get used to that one.
Yeah.
We got to get used to calling ourselves Modern Christian Dudes, not Modern Christian Dads anymore. So,
Yep.
still MCD, still hashtag MCD Nation, but we're the Modern Christian Dudes, not the Modern Christian Dads. So, thank you for joining us on the journey. Greg Walden and I were a little we're not hungover, but we're in that way. But after the big epic road trip to Nebraska.
Yes. And the introduction to the mighty Runza sandwich.
Yeah, that's right.
So delicious.
Greg Walden got the baptism, the Lions Nebraska baptism, just like Greg Krawick did. So you're officially in the club now.
But I didn't order a hamburger.
You guys got to take now. You guys have gone to my hometown. Now you guys have to take me to your hometown or some kind of nostalgic.
Yeah.
Retro trip.
Take you up to Carrollton, man. We got to hit the burger bar.
So that's right. We are Dudes talking news, sports, and God, the Modern Christian Dudes, and we are going to open up a can of Major Melon to get the show started. Let's do this. We haven't done that for a little while. Here we go. Mountain Dew Major Melon.
Tap stuck.
Awkward drink. Shout out to Greg Krawick, Pastor Greg Krawick on that one. Yeah. And to our guy, Kelly Stevens, Leckley Shepins, up there in heaven right now. And I believe, did you notice that when he passed away, that's when the Major Melon came out. So I believe that was like something happened there.
He was like giving us a gift. He was like returning to us a gift.
Whoa. We love you, Kelly Stevens. We know you're alive and well in heaven, the best place that you could ever be. So, all right, let's get into it, guys. It's been a crazy weekend. Lots of stuff going on. The first one is we did take that road trip to Nebraska. So how many of you out there love Nebraska or you've been to Nebraska before? Wasn't your first time to Nebraska, but, your thoughts, Greg Walden.
Well, my first time in Nebraska was like over 20 years ago, back in 2000. We went to the Omaha Zoos. It was raining so hard, we only got to see a few exhibits, and we went home. So we really didn't see Nebraska very much. Yeah. But going into the interior, I call it the interior. Yeah. Because you're out in the big city, you're out in the country and all these little small towns. I thought, man, this is a really pretty country out here.
Yeah, it is nice. It's like a lot of people talk about how flat Nebraska is. Like I used to have a friend that said, if your dog ran away, you can see him running away for 3 days in Nebraska.
Probably could.
Not. It's not so flat where I'm at. Kind of nice rolling hills, so it is very pretty. Especially once the corn gets growing, because that is corn country and it's very pretty. So anyway, we went to Nebraska. We ate some great food on the trip. Number one, you got also the Runza baptism while you were there. RUNZA Runza, a classic Nebraska eatery.
We need one down here in Carthage. If you're listening, Runza, we need one down here.
And I don't know what that officially kind of food that would be considered, if that's like German or Swedish or what it is. But essentially it's kind of like a bun, if you will, like a bread bun, and then shoved inside the bun is seasoned beef and shredded cabbage.
I think the cabbage is what really makes that thing taste really good.
And I'm not a cabbage guy, but I love the Runza. Yeah. Like I'm never like, I really want some cabbage right now. But yeah, it must... The interaction.
I think they should put some sauerkraut in there.
Sauerkraut?
I think that would kick it up a notch.
I've never heard that before, so maybe they could do that. They do, they have beefed it up. They get the cheese on it. I always get the cheese Runza. They do have the mushroom one that your wife got or whatever. Yeah,
that was delicious. The Swiss mushroom one, that's the one I got. Yeah. And that was, I'm like, I got to go back. I'm in love.
And they have the fringes. What do we say? The frinkles?
The frings, yeah.
The frings. So you get a combination of French fries and onion rings. Very clever idea there.
That way, if you can't make up your mind, just get the frings.
Yeah. I like, and they have the crinkle, they call those the crinkle cut fries. So they're very, very good. If you're in Nebraska, what we're trying to get at is if you're in Nebraska, you see a Runza, stop there.
Yes, stop.
Yeah, it's not expensive. So we had Runza, and then we drove down to Kansas City. Shout out to everyone listening in Kansas City, and we ate some barbecue there.
Not just barbecue; it was Joe's Barbecue of Kansas City, formerly Oklahoma Joe's.
Yeah, Joe's Barbecue of Kansas City. We got what it was called the
Z-Man.
The Z-Man sandwich, which is basically brisket, provolone cheese.
Onion rings, barbecue sauce.
Onion rings, barbecue sauce, and a bun. So that was good.
Yes, it was delicious.
And it's up there. I mean, I've ate at good barbecue place before, but that was definitely a good old sandwich.
And like the cool thing about it, if you haven't been there, you drive this place. It used to be a gas station. They just opened this barbecue place up as a side. but
Oh,
it became so popular, and just everybody hit there now. Now it's basically they took the gas station away from it. Now it's just basically all Oklahoma Joe's restaurant there.
Yeah. I think the moral of the story is if you go to Nebraska, eat beef. If you go to Kansas City, eat barbecue.
Right.
Can't go wrong in Nebraska. Always good beef there. And so we had a great road trip there. I went there to see some family, and good old Greg Walden rolled along there with me on the way to the trip, on the way to Nebraska. Let's talk a little football. Dudes Talking News, Sports, and God. We listened to, first of all, the Chiefs game.
Yes.
And Chiefs, once again, play a weird, scary, close game. And just barely beat. Who are they playing now? I have my notes.
The Cleveland
Browns. That's right. They're going to play the Bills this week, but they barely beat the Cleveland Browns. And I don't know why they keep playing like this, but
it's their type of football. They like the ugly nail biter, grab a bag of Tums, and oh man, it was hard. It's hard to listen to their games and watch their games, but they win.
Probably the first major, two storylines that came out of that. Number one was Cleveland was on the verge of scoring a touchdown.
Right.
They extended the football. One of the players extended the football, and it got knocked out of his hand before it crossed the plane into the end zone. And then that is called a touchback,
right,
and changes possession to the other team.
Correct.
So that was a big, big deal. Kansas City gets the ball back. But if that play would have gone the other way,
Chiefs
it would have been
home.
Probably Chiefs lose.
Yep.
And then secondly, the big storyline was that Patrick Mahomes potential concussion, but you found out otherwise this morning.
Yeah, it kept bouncing. Like first they say, well, he might have a concussion, and they say, well, he might not. But then this morning I read that it's more likely a nerve issue with the nerve.
Okay.
But they're still following the concussion protocol, obviously, to make sure because they don't want to, until somebody figures out. He's going through some more tests this week. So he still has to get the green light before next week's AFC Championship game.
They take the headshots very seriously in the NFL nowadays. So,
yep, yeah, because there's so many issues with concussions and stuff, and the things that derive from people getting concussions that they really have to take that.
Yeah,
really serious.
I should find this one time. They were basically saying like playing an NFL football game is like the equivalent of being in a major car crash. Like,
yeah, I mean, you got these 200-300-pound dudes, just bam, bam, bam. I mean, that's got to take its toll on you after a while,
So in that particular shot, I think what's interesting is that I watched the replay of that, and it didn't look like necessarily that huge of a hit, but you never know.
Yeah, you just don't know how it goes.
In the NFL, what's going to happen. So Pat Mahomes, if he is out, I will not pick the Chiefs. Actually, let's make our picks right now. Chiefs versus Bills coming up this Saturday.
That's going to be tight. I still have a feeling the Chiefs are going to do it.
They're going to pull it out. Okay.
Well, the Chad Henne, he looked pretty good when he came in. I mean, he threw that one interception, but overall, he actually did a really good job.
Yeah.
And the Chiefs, again, they play the ugly ball, but they have a knack of stepping up when they need to.
Okay.
And so, but the Bills are playing good this year too. So it can be a toss up.
I'm going to pick with my head and not my heart on this one, and I'm going to say Bills win it.
That's very possible. It could be anybody's game.
Okay.
But the Bills, I mean, they didn't beat the Ravens by very much last weekend. So I mean, it was a close game too.
Yeah. Another big story, the Buccaneers win. Tom Brady, he beats Father Time once again.
Yep. But that one, I think, was New Orleans kind of self-destructed themselves on that one.
Yeah. I think it's time for, Brady, it looks like he still has a little life in those bones.
Yep.
Breeze, looks like it's time to hit the broadcast booth.
Yeah, I feel sad for the guy. I mean, because they had a good year, and he's to get there and especially at home, and just they self-destruct like that at home. Just
4 turnovers to 0 turnovers. Yep. That means you're going to lose.
Right. Yes. Most of the time when you do that, you lose. Especially against
the heartwarming story that comes out of it is that following the game, Breeze and Brady are hanging out on the field, talking. Breeze has his kids there, and Tom Brady throws a touchdown pass to one of Drew Brees' sons.
Yep, that was epic. I think that's pretty class right there.
I think they seem to be pretty good dudes. For as much heat, in the pro wrestling game, we would say as much heat as someone might get. I think Tom Brady seems to be a good guy.
Yeah.
He doesn't seem to be like an arrogant, pompous jerk. He seems to be like a total lover of football, and that's the focus of his life.
Right, and these guys get in, they're competitive, they're highly competitive, and they're obviously their goal is to win the games. And some people see that as like, well, the guy's being pompous. No, he just wants to win a game. And
Yeah.
but at the end of the game, they all respect each other. They give each other, hey man, good job. Even the guy that lost, hey man, cool man,
Yep.
So he's like, even though we're competitive, we want to win, but we realize that we're all playing the same sport. We're all still support each other and stuff like that.
Yep. Packers win, which sets up Bucks versus Packers. Modern Christian Dudes, who do you got in that one? Greg Walden, what's your big hot take on that one?
Oh man, that's gonna be another one. I'm gonna pick Tampa Bay.
Okay.
I think they're gonna pull it out.
Yeah. I'm going to pick again with my heart, not my head on this one. I think the Bucks are going to win. I think on paper, it's in Green Bay.
Yes.
It's a home game for the Packers, but it seems to be there's some magic floating around
Well, I think
Tampa Bay.
Tampa Bay's defensive coordinator has done a pretty decent job because one of the main reasons they really stepped up against New Orleans is that they kind of studied their offense. And they really they modified their defense to kind of match that. So they probably might do the same thing against Green Bay, like we did studying the tapes. This is what he likes to do. So they're going to maybe present a new picture this time.
So with that, you're taking the Chiefs versus the Bucks for the Super Bowl.
I'm going to take Chiefs versus the Bucks.
I'm taking the Bills versus the Bucks. How about that? A Bills versus Buccaneers Super Bowl.
Oh man,
That sounds really weird to say.
And then I'd have to root for the Bills because they never won. I don't think the Bills ever won a Super Bowl, have they? They've been there several times, but they got.
We talked about that. They had the Jim Kelly team, Thurman Thomas, and they just couldn't get over the hump. So anyway, there you go. Modern Christian Dudes. Let us know what you think is going to happen NFL season. Who's going to win the Super Bowl this year? And if the Bucks end up going, the big news of that story, and part of the reason people said Tom wanted to go to the Bucks so bad, is that it is going to be in
Tampa Bay,
as some say.
Yep. And see, I don't agree with that. I think because they should never have a Super Bowl in any of the teams that are playing's home field.
Yeah.
It kind of gives an unnecessary home field advantage to the team, which they shouldn't have. So I think they should have a plan A, plan B, plan C. That way, there's never going to be a situation where the two teams that are in the Super Bowl are playing at their home stadium.
Yeah, but I almost think it'd be kind of boring, not as cool to play a home game for the Super Bowl.
Right.
When the Super Bowl, you want to be somewhere else and like get the whole feel of.
Right, and again, you want to keep the playing field as even and fair as possible. So you obviously, if like say they had an Arrowhead and Chiefs are playing, well, you got the 12th man.
Yeah.
And so you give the Chiefs kind of a little edge over whoever they're playing against just because of the 12th man.
Yeah. But it's not unnatural, say, like in the NBA. I'm an NBA guy. When you get to the NBA Finals, now there are 7 games, but the majority of the finals will be played in the home team's court.
Yeah.
So it happens there. Anyway, there you go. We'll hold off on our Super Bowl pick until next week. But right now, I got Bills, Bucks, Super Bowl. You got Chiefs, Bucks, Super Bowl.
Yeah. And if the Bills and Bucks go, I'm going to pick the Bucks. Even though I would like to see the Bills win, but I'm going to pick the Bucks because I think the Bucks will beat them.
All right, there we go. That's a little sports action. Now let's get into a little segment. I'll get a punch bad going on for this one in the future, but I created a new segment called Dude, What Is That? And kind of what's Greg Walden collecting this week? What have you picked up this last week, Greg Walden?
Well,
how many Funko Pops?
Oh, goodness. Well, I only picked up a Mr. Toad Funko Pop keychain.
Keychain, okay.
For my ATV key, so I got that, and then yesterday went to vintage stock and I picked up the Mickey Mouse, Donald Duck, and Goofy vinyl figures.
Yeah,
from the Kingdom Hearts series.
I was so tempted. They did have the Lloyd and Harry tuxedo suits.
I was shocked
Funko
you didn't buy
Pops.
them. I was shocked you didn't buy them. Like I know, I was like, man, you got to pick that up, bro. I already have a Dumb and Dumber, but on another outfit, so that's why I didn't pick it up.
Yeah, let's just say I had a conversation with Pastor Rachel last week, and so I was like, anyway,
peel me away.
They had both of them too. Yeah. Both of them there. Yes. I probably missed. I think that was the Lord. Have you? Yeah, I think we all have had some moments where we missed God. I think I missed God on that one. I think the Lord put them there for me, and I completely rejected God's will regarding that situation.
There's always Amazon.
Yeah. Yep. Well, you almost got the Tony Stark Funko Pop. They had a Tony Stark, which was really cool.
So close. I mean, I was so close to getting it, but then I'm like, well, The 3 Disney ones are only $4 a piece. I mean, I can get the 3 of them for the same price as the Funko Pop.
It'll be so interesting. Like you said, 20 years from now, we'll see what happens in the Funko Pop world. Which ones are mega expensive, which ones are not.
Living out on the street with all their Funko Pops because they bought themselves out of house and home.
So anyway, there we go. One thing I did want to talk, we're going to get into some spiritual talk in just a moment. I thought this would be interesting. We talk a lot of Elon and Tesla, and we talked about their internet service that they are, what is that called again? Starlink. That's right. Yes. Starlink internet service, which basically to complete this, I watched a YouTube video, they're going to need like 40,000 satellites.
Wow, that's a lot.
That's why they're sending up like 60 at a time, and because it's going to create this huge chain, as it's going around the Earth. But then I was watching a YouTube video that a lot of the astrologists, would that be astrologists, people that study
astronomers?
Yeah, astrologists would be more spiritual, right? Or
I think they do more with the zodiac sign
stuff. Yeah. So anyway, the guys, which one did we say now? We said astronomers. Yeah, astronomers basically that are watching for meteors that might hit the Earth, and if there was ever emergencies regarding that they don't like Starlink because it's going to interfere with that.
But then again, if there's a meteor that's going to hit the Earth, what can you do about it? I mean, seriously, even if you knew like 20 years from ahead of time, it's going to hit the Earth, and what can you really do about it?
Yeah. So I found that to be interesting that there are the haters of the Starlink that they think.
I'm loving it, man. I'm saying, come on, Elon, get that thing available where I'm at, man. I want some 200 megabits download.
Yeah. So we don't. We talk a lot of Tesla, Elon Musk, but I found this one very interesting. Okay, I'll just read part of it. I won't go into the whole thing, but it says a Bill Gates venture aims to spray dust into the atmosphere to block the sun. What could go wrong? Microsoft's billionaire founder Bill Gates is financially backing the development of sun dimming technology that would potentially reflect sunlight out of the Earth's atmosphere, triggering a global cooling effect. The stratospheric controlled perturbation experiment launched by Harvard University scientists aims to examine this solution by spraying non-toxic calcium carbonate dust into the atmosphere, a sun-reflecting aerosol that may offset the effects of global warming.
Well, in my opinion, global warming is a hoax, but they wanted to put sunglasses on the Earth or something.
Yeah, essentially. But they don't know if it'll work. They don't know the effects of it.
I think he must have spent too much time in Colorado.
Yeah.
at a certain shop.
Yeah, but I that's going to be interesting in the future how that unfolds, as well as, climate change, global warming, whatever, that there's some big players wanting to do some interesting things.
Well, as far as global warming, I like what a sermon by John Hagee months ago I was listening to. He was talking about the Great Tribulation, and one of the things that happened during the Great Tribulation. He goes, there's one judgment where like all this, it's like scorching heat, all the grass burned up and stuff. And he's like, all you people who believe in global warming, guess what? It's coming. So there you go.
Yeah. Or, if you get too hot, go to Nebraska.
Get a Runza.
In the wintertime. Yeah, I was like, we live in southern Missouri, and I talk about how it's always about 10, 15 degrees. Usually 15 degrees is the highest, but it's always 10, 15 degrees colder up there than it is here. So every time I go up there, I'm like, whoo.
Yeah, we went through like a foot snow drift, and like, wow. And down here, it's like 40, 50, 45 degrees, something like that.
Yeah. So there you go, guys. Dudes Talking News, Sports, and God, Modern Christian Dudes. We'll be getting some new stuff coming down the line, new music, hopefully some new merch, things of that regards. But let's do some spiritual talk. Then we will dive into that. Thank our sponsor first. Hi, my name is Jeremiah Johnson. I am the host of Grace Point Daily and the Modern Christian Dads podcast. But most importantly, I have the coolest job of being the lead pastor of Grace Point Assembly in Carthage, Missouri. Our church is about helping people discover a relationship with Christ and your purpose in Him, connecting other followers of Christ together in relationship and living out the mission of God. Why don't you join us for a service next time you're in this area? For more information, service times, and our address, go to gracepointag.org. We hope to see you soon. All right. I wanted to talk spiritually. One of the things that we've dealt with this past few months, for me personally, we lost, or, it's always hard to word those, but Kelly Stevens died, passed away, his earthly body, passed away. we believe he's in heaven.
Yes.
We also had another great guy in our church, Larry Lynn.
Yes.
He passed away, and it's always hard to deal with that, whether you are a believer. We're followers of Jesus Christ. We believe in heaven. We believe in eternal life. It doesn't negate the reality that it's sorrowful.
Yes.
And we try to process it and ask questions and wish we could have had more time with that person on earth and all those kind of things. But it gets you thinking about when we die, no doubt about it. Anytime someone dies, it gets you thinking about death and life after death and all those kind of things. And I've been thinking about that a lot lately. So that's why I wanted to, in our church on Wednesday nights, usually I've been preaching a lot on Wednesday nights lately, but I wanted to do some other series here and there and just kind of mix it up a little bit so people don't get too much Pastor Jeremiah fatigue, if you will. But I was thinking a lot about heaven, so I wanted to, find some good heaven stuff. And Randy Alcorn, if you've never read some of his book, he has one called In Light of Eternity. He has a bunch on heaven, but you and I started watching a video on heaven on the road trip back to Missouri. It was cool.
Yeah, it was awesome. I like how you get perspectives, and also he talks about some of the illusions that people have about heaven.
Mm-hmm. I think the illustration, I've heard Francis Chan use this before. And maybe Francis Chan stole it from Randy Alcorn, but he talked about the dot and the line. He talked about our life being a dot, and then eternity is like this unending line that goes on and on forever. And our fixation in this life is always on the dot, not on what comes after the dot. And I know Francis Chan, he used the one called a rope illustration, basically where he put a red piece of tape on a rope, and then the rope that he had was like unending. And same concept, that we are living for this short period of time when the reality of what we should be living for is eternity and heaven and eternal life. But many of our decisions and our passions and in life are not thinking about that. Typically, an standard American life is you grow up and you go to school till you're 18 years old, and then you go to college, and then you try to figure out what career you want, and then you grind out that career for 30, 40 years, and then you go get in camper or you retire and you try to have a quality 10 to 20 years, and then you die.
Yep. And so that's one of the biggest lies that devil does is he gets you focused on, like I said, gets you focused on the dot. He takes your focus off of God and eternity. But he's like, well, you go out there and do it. You have fun and go out there and party on and all that stuff. You're thinking in your physical life. Yeah. But he takes your attention away from the eternal life.
Yeah. And that's where God was talking about in the Bible. He's talking about don't store up for yourself treasures in heaven, opposite. Don't store up for yourselves treasures on earth where they rot and
people steal,
whatever. Store up for yourselves treasures in heaven that will last forever. And, there's a lot of ways you can spin that or talk about that. But really, he's talking about, again, we spend time trying to get all this money. We try, getting stuff. And none of that really matters, And we find that out when someone we love passes away, that none of the stuff matters. Do I care, today, do I care about any of the stuff Kelly Stevens has? No, I care about him and the relationship that that is not really existent there anymore. That's what I care about. Not his stuff. So that's what we're supposed to be storing up, not focusing on the line and not on the dot, which is life.
Right. And even people on their deathbeds. How many people on their deathbeds are asking about their stuff? They're more worried about, I wish I had more time with my family, or those connections they had, or they're not really worried about, I wish I would have bought a new Funko Pop, or I wish I would have bought a new car. They're more focused on their personal relationships, how they spent their time.
Yeah. And we live like heaven isn't going to be that amazing. I love that he brought up that point. He talked about where Paul said, to be absent from the body is to be present with the Lord, which is far better. Yes. I love that he brought up that. He's saying like heaven isn't just a little bit better than earth. It's way better. Yes. Sometimes we're clinging to this life, like we don't want to die. We want to stay here. But the Bible tells us that heaven is going to be far better. Way better. It's not even close.
Yeah, I don't think we can. Here in our mortal bodies, I don't think we can fully comprehend how awesome heaven is.
Yeah.
And so, like he was saying, a lot of people are actually scared of heaven because I think one, they don't know anything. They don't know the Bible. They don't know the Scripture or fully enough to understand what heaven is going to be like. And even again, we're still finite creatures. We can't fully grasp heaven. We get a concept of it. We read what God says about it, but we're still in our mortal bodies. We really can't grasp the full awesomeness of heaven until we actually get there.
Yeah.
But we know that heaven's going to be an awesome, great place. Being with Jesus, I mean, no pain, no suffering, no death. All the things that straddle us down here on earth, we won't have that straddle in heaven.
Yep. And that point that he brought up is that we're built to want that. Really. He's saying because, okay, here's an example I'd use. I've kind of come across my YouTube channel, recommended videos, is I watch one of all these fancy houses. And so say like The Rock, we've talked about The Rock before. The Rock has like 12 houses and then he keeps selling them and buying more.
Yeah.
You're like, the 10 houses he has right now are houses I will never even touch. But where's that desire coming from? It's coming for this desire for the perfect place, which is built inside of every human being. The desire for the perfect home, the perfect whatever it might be. And that's heaven.
Yes.
That what we're longing for is that's our spirit crying out for heaven. And we can't get that here. So that's why we read the stories of Pat Mahomes. Even though he just signed a $400 million contract, guess what? He's still going to be unfulfilled in life.
Right.
In this earth, he will be unfulfilled.
Yeah. Without God, you're unfulfilled.
We drove through that fancy neighborhood in Kansas City the other day. Oh my goodness, look at these houses. And you know what? I bet you those people are thinking about a bigger house.
Yeah.
More stuff.
Yep. Everybody wants the bigger and the better,
Because inside of us, there's this innate want for the perfect thing. And that perfect thing is heaven. And so I was comforted that, again, that one day when we die, we're going to be in heaven.
Yeah.
Why? Because we're good? Because we've done good stuff? No, because we realized Jesus was the way, the truth, and the life.
Yes.
And we decided to give our life to him. We decided to choose his way. And so there's great comfort now. Like when we talk about Kelly Stevens, we're kind of joking around here, but he wouldn't mind that. He wouldn't be mad about that. Number one, because that's who he was. But number two, he's in a better place.
Far better place.
He's in a far better place than we are right now. So there's sorrow in that. I want to see him. I want to hang out with him right now.
Right.
But he's in a far better place. So we can take great comfort and great joy. But then number two, the challenge for us, let's bring it back to modern Christian dudes, is that as dudes, are we going to make sure that our primary pursuit, investment, passions are eternal?
Yes.
Because we're dudes, right? We're the guys that can be like, I want the car, I want the guitar, I want the I want the truck, I want the Tesla, I want the we're dudes. We've already talked about this. We want the toys.
Yes, we do.
We still love the toys, but is that the end all be all, or are we investing in eternity?
That's true, and that's where we take self inventory of ourselves. Like you said, is that my only goal in life is to get stuff?
Yeah.
If I'm saying stuff's making me happy, that's why people go there and they get these things, and their primary goal is I want this, because they're looking for happiness. But in the end, it doesn't bring permanent happiness. It's happy for a little bit, then it goes away. And they go, now I'm sad again, and they go out and get some more stuff, and they realize that there's the only one that can give you permanent happiness and joy is Jesus.
Yep.
And you can't fill that with anything else.
Amen. So make your focus, that illustration, if you can think of that just as you're listening, that dot and the line. Are you living for the dot, or are you living for the line, which is unending, which is eternal? And that's a big deal, because if you're a modern Christian dude, or like we were formerly modern Christian dads, well, then that, there's a lot of things to process, because we have wives, and or I have a wife and I have children, and I'm thinking about my eternity, but I'm thinking about the responsibility I have that affects the others line as well. Not just my own dot and my own line, but how I'm affecting other people, because I want other people. And that's the final point, is that he brings up, is that not only do I want to live for the line, do I want to live for eternal life? But I want other people
Yes.
to go there and see my life and say, wow, I want to go to heaven too.
Yes. I mean, I'm praying for my family, my dad, my kids, and my sisters and my brothers, and I mean everybody that's in my life. I want them to go to heaven too.
Yep.
Because I don't want them to have to experience the horrors of hell.
Yep.
I want them all to have the same peace and happiness and joy of being in that most awesome place of heaven that I get to go to.
Exactly. How do you get to heaven? Through Jesus. That's how you get to heaven. There's multiple scriptures, but God so loved the world that he gave his only son, that whoever would believe in him would not perish but have everlasting life. Today, you can believe and put your trust in Jesus and say, Jesus, I realize I need you. I want you in my life. I want you to be a part of my life. I want you to be my life in the direction of my life. And that's what you got to do today. And that's a prayer that you can pray on your own. It's not complicated. It's just a simple conversation that you can have with Jesus right now. And that will not just make you feel better right now. It'll affect your eternity.
Yeah.
Could change your eternity.
I'm telling you, man, the only regret I have about becoming a Christian is I didn't do it sooner.
Yep. There you go. All right, guys, we're dudes talking news, sports, and God, the modern Christian dudes. Thanks for joining us. Talk to you guys next time.